pick them up from crouching. So there's a lot more interactive ability and tactileness. Um, so, oh, no! No!
So we end the week with a little bit of a preview from CIG in regards to the 890 jump and the Carrack. And I have to admit, once again, the 890 jump is not really my thing. So I was kind of like, yeah, okay, there's some points we can talk about here. But the real surprise, I think, was the Carrack, the return of the table in the Carrack, and the possibilities that that entails. Now, we start off, of course, with the 890 jump. Now, the 890 jump, of course, is the luxury yacht. It is the high-end luxury ship, and CIG has definitely pulled out all the stops in terms of artistic skill to bring this thing to life. Included with that was the fact that while they were talking about the 890 jump, they also referred to the sparseness of the interiors of the 600i, and they looked to resolve these things with the 890 jump, which once again reinforces the point that your feedback matters, right? You have to get your opinion heard. Now, there's always going to be that contingent within the community that if you criticize something or if you ask questions about something, that you're just being negative, that you hate Star Citizen and you should just shut up. But once again, CIG's coming up, stepping up and saying, no, we want to know what you think, and this is how we're changing the game based on your feedback. Now, the truth is your feedback may not always be listened to. Trust me, I know how that feels. But you may not always be right. I may not always be right. And certainly there are people out there who've left comments on my videos that have changed my opinions on certain things. But once again, it's that interaction that is absolutely necessary. And I mean, in my personal opinion, I find the people who go out there and who quash all this feedback under the idea that, oh, it's all just negativity and all these people are just hating on CIG. I think that those are probably the worst people in our community. Now we move on to the Carrack. And of course, this is the drone bay in the Carrack, and it is empty, much like the drone bay in the Reclaimer. Single tier. Drones, of course, are not complete, and this is a function that is going to hopefully make it into the game at some point in the future, though obviously many of the things that we will be getting over the next couple of years are probably going to be, as one of my viewers said, dictated by the schedule of Squadron 42. So where drones fit into that, I'm not entirely sure. But apart from that, the ship itself, I think, has an enormous amount of potential. I was a little bit kind of reticent with the ship in the very beginning when it first came out. I was like, I kind of like it, but at the same time, I don't know. It wasn't so much, a criticism on the visual design of the ship or a criticism on any particular feature of the ship. It was more a concern grounded around how the rest of the game would develop around the ship and how the ship would integrate with those systems. It was very much something that was off on the horizon. I kind of wanted to see how the game developed around the ship before I really kind of formed a final opinion on the ship. Now, here we are, sometime in the future, I think 4 years, or actually almost 5 years since the original concept sale. What was it? September, August of 2014 when this first came out. And so here it is, getting closer to flyable. One of the features, though, that I think has recently been reintegrated into the ship, and one of the features I think now, given the experience of playing Star Citizen, I think is actually pretty damned important, is the scanning table. I think that this, kind of the scanning table or the kind of situational awareness table, depending on how you want to look at it, obviously there's the scientific purpose for it, right? That's the straight up front purpose. But I think as a command and control feature, I think that that could show a remarkable amount of promise, and it certainly would help fill a niche role in those mid-level fleets. And I hope that that's who the way CIG goes, and they develop some really robust tools to go along with that table to allow very advanced command and control features, the ability to designate targets, if you will, something like that. I think that building a role like that into what is a military scanning ship, to me, it seems kind of obvious that that should be a direction that you should be going with this. And I hope that CIG kind of embraces that and, really hits the ground running with that. Because, I mean, if you're in a hammerhead, certainly, and you're in one of the turrets and you're trying to fight and you're trying to defend the ship, it can be difficult to really picture the battlefield from kind of like a God's eye point of view. And I think that a tool like this in a ship that's flying along with the hammerhead in a fleet is invaluable. And I think there's a lot of players out there who have been playing around with ships like the hammerhead or even in fighter groups who could realize the immediate value of having someone who can kind of look at the entirety of the battlefield and coordinate activities based on the overall picture of what's going on. So kind of going back to the beginning of the video where I was talking about, waiting to see how the game developed around the ship, I think we're at a point now where we can kind of look at the situation and say, you know what? This is definitely something that we would benefit from. This is something that we would need in the game. And I hope this is the way CIG goes with this, not just using it as simply a scientific tool, but allowing certain command and control functions to be handled through this table, at least being able to designate targets and, coordinate a fleet's activities, at least a small to medium fleet. I think that would make the Carrack absolutely invaluable, and I think that's a real place where the Carrack could truly shine in the Star Citizen lineup of ships. Once again, that's my opinion, and that's what I saw this week. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.